to the Spotlight today. I have a question for you. How many of you have ever struggled with reading? Like you read a page, got down to the bottom and went, what did I just read? Or have you ever like read 3 or 4 pages and then woke up? Because that was my experience with reading years ago. In fact, I was such a poor reader that when I went to college, the first thing they said to me was, Mr. Dewar, do you realize that 99% of all the rest of the freshmen enrolled are placed above you? Are you sure you wouldn't rather go to a junior college and make sure that college is your cup of tea? And I went, wow, I've never been called an idiot so professionally in all my life. And then I set out to prove it wrong, and I did get on a dean's list. It was the one that went to 1.99 in 2 years. And then my dean was like, welcome to second semester scholastic probation. You don't pull it out next semester, you're going home. And I mention this story because that summer I learned that I was a slow reader. In fact, I was below average, but average isn't that great. Average in America is less than 250 words a minute because the average reader reads out loud in their head. And many times our brains actually choke on that little of information. Hence the, what did I just read? And so that summer I learned how to read faster, remember more, and the next semester I went from a 1.99 to a 3.25 in one semester and never had to worry about my grades again. Years later I got my BS degree. It's not all BS, but the point is that when I got out, I never wanted to be called an idiot ever again. And I studied accelerated learning. And late in the 90s, I saw this infomercial for this guy named Howard Berg, world's fastest reader. And I kind of watched it and got the product. And I was blown away that my reading rate went well over 1,000 words a minute in about 60 days using the tools that he provided. My memory, my retention even increased beyond what I had learned before, which was just lists and presentations without names, but being able to remember, things that, like names. Have you ever met somebody and shake their hand and 2 minutes later it's like, who are they? All this is to try to say this. I met Howard Berg about 10 years ago. I was at a networking event. He stood up and he goes, I'm Howard Berg, I'm the world's fastest reader. And I kid you not, I looked at him and I went, oh, you're my hero. I can't believe I'm standing in the presence of the world's fastest reader, Howard Berg. And he's like, it's okay. And he was a really nice guy. We developed a great friendship and relationship. And I just wanted to try to help the business owners, the professionals, realize that if you have a challenge reading, which I'm pretty certain most of us do, because most of us have this issue with taking in information at a speed that we've trained ourselves since much younger. Howard, thank you for being on my show. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
I want to know your story because I want to believe that you were abducted by aliens and you were given an implant and now you can read 80 pages a minute.
Yeah.
But did that come naturally? Was that easy for you? What happened?
I grew up in the projects of Brooklyn, a lot of gangs, really violent. I found one safe place, the library. Gang kids would rather be dead than caught in a library. So I read a lot, so that helped. I had college reading when I was 11. And I went to college at 17. I majored in biology. I went to the State University of New York, Binghamton. In my junior year, I got interested in how the brain works. So I wanted to be a psychobiologist, not a psychotic biologist, but a psychobiologist.
There's a difference. Right?
There's a difference. That's
one wants to take over the world.
Well, one wants to make Frankenstein. The other one wants to learn about brain-based learning. That was the one I was going with.
Exactly.
And I went to the dean and I said, I want to do 2 majors. He said, you're a second-term junior. You got 1 year left. You have to do the whole 4-year psych program in 1 year, finish the bio program, and I had 3 jobs. I was working 18 hours a week. He said, you're not smart enough, just like they said to you. And I said, oh, yeah? And I realized they never taught me how to learn in school or work. They tell you what to learn, why to learn, what will happen when you don't learn, but not what happens when you listen to the radio, you hear one song and you remember your whole life.
Right.
Then you learn the 7 habits of highly effective people, and the next day you don't know any habits. I said, there's got to be a way to learn the habits and reading the way you learn the song. And there was. I got up to 80 pages of it, and I did the psych program in 1 year. And I took the GRE in biology, the SAT for graduate school. And I went through 48 books in 3 nights, like biochemistry, cell physiology, genetics, plant systematics, not the lightest reading. I got 3 questions wrong. So I was in the 99th percentile in the world. And then I said, gee, is it me, or did I find a better way to learn? So I had a school. I took kids 11 to 15 years old, and we taught them the system. They did a 30-chapter book in lifelong developmental psychology in 1 week, and 15 out of 18 passed the CLEP for full credit after a single week. And then I trained the Green Berets. I trained the Royal Thai Army, a lot of Fortune 500 companies. And I realized I was doing something that no one had ever done before. And that's why we're here today, to share this with our audience.
I am so excited to have you on the air with us and in the show, because here's the thing, folks. When you look at what is one of the greatest stressors in our life today is when we stay late to process new information, like emails, like reports, like whatever it is. And how many times have you missed time with your family? How does it feel when you have to stay late to finish something that should have been done already, and yet how? You're working so hard, and the biggest kind of hindrance is that funnel to get things into your mind. And yet anyone, if this 99% or rest of the freshmen could figure this out, anyone can. So stick around. We're going to go on a break for a second, and I want to make sure that you see next segment where Howard actually is going to read my book, or at least a lot of it, in 30 seconds. So we'll be right back.